I see me. I am there. Yay.
There too.
Hey, everybody. Someone's already liked it.
Awesome.
See, someone liked it before they became a viewer. That's pretty funny. How do they do that? I don't know. Carla says, "Hi guys, how was your week?" Uh, it's been a rough week. Ian says, "Hello and welcome to all." I mean, we had some good things in the week. Ian got in to see the denturist, and we really like him a lot. He is already fixed Ian's lower plate so that it fits better. And so, middle of August, August 12th, I think, we go in and get everything relined. So, yay. So that's good. Family member just got out of open heart surgery and survived the surgery, but we don't know anything else yet at this point. He was in pretty bad shape. We weren't sure if he was going to survive the surgery, so that's good news. Got that just before the show started. Yeah, it's like, and our bunny is not doing well. So hopefully he's still alive tomorrow and we can take him to the vet because there's no vet until tomorrow. So, Carla says same. Yep, it's been a weird week. I was supposed to have a medical procedure that got postponed until next week, so I guess we'll see what happens then. Carla says, "Oh no," and Erin says, "Hello." Hi, Erin. Yes, oh no, and the bunny especially. It's been very stressful. So I've been having a hard time dealing with all of it at once. So, That's funny. Carla started off as number 2. Erin came in as number 3, and now Carla's number 1.
It just depends on who does the most talking.
I guess so.
Yep.
I guess you talked and I talked, and that's how she was number 2. Them and their crowns. Who knows? But, we're here. I'm wearing an iolite ring because I've been so stressed, and I was sort of inspired to use it, and then I looked it up, and it's one of the things that's good for is stress. So I'm like, yay! My intuition was working overtime. So it says, good energy to you guys. Thank you. Sometimes life is just kind of like that, and you have to figure it out. Carla says, my aunt passed, so weird stuff going on. I'm sorry. I hope it was expected, but it's never easy, even when it is expected. So, yeah. So, yeah, fun and games. She was sick. It wasn't unexpected. All right. Well, at least it wasn't unexpected because surprise ones seem to be harder to cope with, but they all have their difficulties. It's just one of those. We don't have control over it. And then we have to adapt to changing universe. Like our universe suddenly is different. Shay says, hello all. Hi, Shay. So yeah, it's just been,
It's been life.
It's been life. Yeah, Bunny started going downhill on Friday, and Friday, there's only a vet from Monday through Thursday that deal with bunnies, so Tina says, hello everyone. Hi, Tina. Carla says, for sure. Yeah. Dealing with reality. So, doesn't matter how fantastic you are and how great your life might be, there are certainly things that can throw you for a loop. Just the way it works. To be a spirit, not having to deal with that stuff. But not yet. I'm not done.
I finally found the setting on the camera that works really well.
Cool.
It's called Beauty Face.
Is really?
Yes.
Beauty face?
Yes, that's what you get for buying a Chinese camera.
Aha. Okay, then I'm a beauty face, I guess. Carla says we'll get through it.
That's what gets the color and everything set right.
Shay says, do spirits have drama? Good question. It depends on what kind of spirit they are. If they're like a human ghost, then yeah, they got lots and lots of drama. But if they're not, probably not so much. Carla says, Shay, ha ha, laughing, crying her eyes out. She's laughing so hard. But they have more places they can go, maybe to get away from it. At least it's sort of a nice-ish day out. It's not too windy, and it's not too cold here, so I'm not sure what they would consider drama either. I don't know. We'll have to ask one. I imagine the guardian angels have drama. I've seen some pretty good memes about those. Like, where people are freaking out, like trying to stay on the road or whatever. Yeah, so guardian angels going like, no, don't do that. Ah! Teresa says, hi, had to make a cup of tea. Well, good. I'm glad you have a cup of tea. Tina says, I think I missed something. Well, they asked me how my week went, and we have a person who's just gone through and come out of open heart surgery, had 5 major arteries blocked to 99%. We weren't sure if he was going to make it. Haven't heard back yet, though. My daughter's up there at the hospital, a couple hours away. We're waiting to hear. Bunny got sick on Friday, and we have to wait till tomorrow to take him to the vet because there's no vet until tomorrow. And we're worried about him. He's not his usual self. Yeah. So, someone else lost a family member. Carla lost her aunt. So we were talking about that kind of stuff. And it says, pretty in purple, Siofra. Thank you. Needed some purple. I also got one of my old pouches or whatever and stuck some rocks in there to help. And put on my iolite ring, and I got some amethyst and aventurine and chalcedony to help with my mood, and a piece of happy stuff. The name is not coming to my mind. It'll come to me later. And then just some basic tiger eye and black tourmaline. Shay says, you're beat up majorly. Yeah, just a little bit. And I got my fairy star on. I figured they could help me. I have to think what that's called. I also brought in my vanishing wand just to help clear my energy. Dana says, oh, sorry to hear that. My sweet aunt passed away recently. She was ready, but my cousin is heartbroken. Seems like there's a lot of that going around.
Fairy star is so.
Yes. So it's like a Venusian symbol. Yeah, so I brought out my vanishing wand just to help clear my energy out. I sometimes sleep with it, and it helps quite a bit. Helps to ground me too at the same time. It's kind of interesting. All sorts of fun stones on there. So just having it around is useful. And that's just personal stuff, so. Larimar, that's what it's called. This is Larimar. Now that I remember what it's
like
called.
An old western town.
Yeah, like Laramie. But no, Larimar. Larimar is just happy stuff.
Gunfight in Larimar.
Yeah. Teresa says, sorry you're feeling so down. Not down so much as just totally stressed, but yes, thank you. It's like just, everything all at once. Doesn't help. Did you hurt yourself? Okay. Pain in the eye. So, I guess I'm showing you some of my strategies for dealing with it. Yeah, the iolite definitely helped as soon as I put it on. I was surprised. I was getting adrenaline rushes and all kinds of things, which I'm not used to anymore. So it was interesting. It seems to help. Carla says, may I ask if you have any idea what's wrong with Bunny? He's not going to the bathroom. He's got a bowel blockage. Something's not working in there. And, and that's bad. That can kill him. So, and he won't let us touch him, so we can't massage him. He at least is still moving around. He's drinking water, but he's got, they have a name for it, and I can't remember, something stasis, intestinal stasis or something like that. GI stasis. Yeah. And we think that's what's happening. So hopefully there's a medication the vet can give him or something that they can do to get it moving. Because it's just not good. He hasn't eaten since Friday. He's not taking in any food. So yeah, it's a dire kind of condition.
He's not urinating.
Right. Not doing any kind of bathroom stuff. So Shay says, Siofra, with your wands, do you use glue to secure wired stones? It depends on the stones. In this case, I didn't use glue. I just used the wire to secure it. And I just wrapped the wire a specific way and kept on going. So they're movable. You know, they're not firmly attached as far as that goes, but they're pretty solidly attached. And, yeah, some wands I use glue. But this one I didn't. I just used wire to wrap it around. I might have used, nope, there's no glue on this either. I just wire wrapped it, pushed it in. So yeah, just depends.
I break stones off mine when they're epoxied on, so it depends on the user a lot too.
Yeah, there's that. Carla says, oh, blessings to your dear bunny. Yes, thank you. I'm sure he could use all the good energy he can get. I've been trying to send him energy since he won't let me touch him. It's like, oh, he's usually just a happy little guy. It's hard to see him not feeling good. So, oh well. It is the way of the world sometimes. But yeah, you know, what do we do when things go bad? We have to figure out something. Teresa says, how old is your rabbit? A little over a year. I don't think he's more than a year, is he?
So
He's
not
a year
by
old,
much.
but not by, but yeah. I think his birthday's in March, so April, May, June, July, so 1 1/3 or years. So he's not very old. He's a pretty young bunny. And, you know, he shouldn't have this happening to him. Of course, I don't think any bunny should have this happen to them, regardless of their age. But he is kind of young for that. But yeah, what happens when we care for and love animals?
Yep.
Sometimes when things aren't going well, it's very stressful. So, yep.
Something happened magically out there.
Well, you know, I'm showing you guys what I do when I'm completely stressed and be curious to see what other people do. And we certainly talk about it as a subject. How do you keep yourself from going crazy when things are going nuts around you? Grounding and sharing your energy with, you know, plant life or trees or something like that to kind of keep yourself together. Gabrielle says, hey, hi.
Nature is definitely one of my go-tos.
Yeah, mine too.
Nature and music.
Thinking of laying on the ground and just sort of laying there for a while, just kind of hanging out with the earth.
You had to figure out a time to just go camp for like a couple of days or something somewhere.
Yeah, we're
Just get
supposed to be
away.
going camping with everybody, but I don't know if
Nobody
that's going to happen.
Ever, if they ever get it together.
Yeah,
you know.
so maybe we should plan our own camping trip. If we do, we'll let you guys know. Because if we do it on a Sunday, we won't be doing a live show. But hey, you know, we're pretty consistent now about doing our shows. We have a class coming up on Wednesday. Some of you are already signed up for it. And it's going to be on, I brought out my class outline. It's going to be on natural authority and spiritual boundaries, claiming your energetic sovereignty, what we decided to call it. So if you're interested in taking the class, it's going to be this coming Wednesday at 2, and it's $25 for the class. So anybody who wants to come, just send me an email at siofrasmagicalcove@gmail.com so you can register, or send me a message through Facebook. Shay says, I get acupuncture and spend time in nature. Good. Tina says, I do hold my crystals too. I found that the birch trees are buzzy. Yesterday I was stressed and I took a nap. Shay says, excited about your class. Yes, thank you. You're coming. You and Teresa are both coming, and a few other people. But yeah, I'm excited about it too. It's always interesting to see how these things go and what comes out. And I've been doing the working on transcribing my videos through TurboScribe. So I've got a bunch more done. We're getting some increased traffic on our channel, which is kind of nice, and we're up to 15,859 subscribers last I looked. So we're actually coming up on 16,000 pretty soon. So that's kind of cool. Gabrielle, oh, Beth says, hi everyone. Hi, Beth. Gabrielle says, I've been laying around and not thinking. It's a nice break from thinking. Oh, yeah. Congratulations. That's great.
If you can accomplish it.
It's wonderful to be able to lay around and not think for a while. Carla says, that's awesome. Yeah.
People like me, it's hard to not think. I mean, like really hard. At times.
Teresa says, magical question. How does a person strengthen their magnetism and thereby their aura? Any specific practices? Focus on the things that have magnetism in them, like water.
Yeah, actually. Water element is very magnetic, so things like even just like gazing at the water, just kind of absorbing that magnetism through vision and through sense of feeling. You can also actually, if you learn how to do it, you can breathe in magnetism from the water, so it feels constrictive on your body. It's what it does is pull inward. So, and that will help build up that. It'll help build up the equivalent of what people used to call animal magnetism also. So that means if you build up enough, you know, more magnetically attractive to people and things like that.
You could also like get a magnet.
Yeah. Oh.
Well, I mean, and you know, work with it. Like magnetite could be a useful stone to have.
Well, and that's one of the Barton recommends for if you're making a talisman to bring things in, to actually put it in and make it out of a magnet. Use a magnet and charge that up for things you're trying to bring in, like money or health or whatever you're trying to attract to you. Exactly. Right. He says if you put it in a magnet, it's much more powerful than just using a regular whatever.
Mm-hmm. Carla says, I hear you, Ian, as far as the thinking, not thinking. Gabrielle says, I'm addicted to thinking, so have a little break from that. It's been nice. I just do little spurts of not thinking throughout the day. Terrific.
I try myself.
Teresa says, does connecting with the full moon also increase your magnetism?
Yes.
Because it's watery, I would assume so.
Yeah, the lunar aspect is very magnetic. It's also rhythmic, and you can't take that out of account really when you're dealing with the lunar aspect in particular. It always has an ebb and flow to it. So it's an ebb and flow type of water. Yeah.
Gabrielle says, it made me cry the other day because all the emotions I suppressed were able to be expressed without thinking about the narratives. That's good.
Carla, I'm going to approve your message, but just so you know, the system doesn't like it. So you might want to spell that word differently or something next time.
You might have to tell me what it is since it's not showing up on mine.
That should pretty soon. Nope.
That says Gabrielle Hearts.
No, assholes are magnetically attracted to me.
Okay.
Yeah, you just use the word jerks or something next time.
Carla says, "Oh shoot, I should have used dollar signs."
Yeah.
Teresa says, "Can also doing sacral meditations increase magnetism since that chakra is connected with water?"
Um, yeah. You have to be careful that you don't mix the two systems too much, but in general, yes, the sexual chakra or the svadhisthana is associated with water, and meditations and things there will improve your control of water and your magnetism both. The danger of that aspect in that system right there is increasing if somebody has a tendency towards addiction to increase sexual addiction tendencies
Yeah.
by doing that also, and that's the water and stuff. But that aside, yes. The answer to your question is yes.
I sneezed. Woo!
I'm sorry. Bless you.
That was exciting. It's real live. You could like take that out. Teresa says, "Thanks for those answers. I have something to go on." Carla says, "Bless you." Thank you, Carla. Beth says, "Bless you." Thank you, Beth. Oh, I took an antihistamine before we started. Gabrielle says, "Then the Kundalini went nuts, felt like it took over my body, went completely up my spine and throughout my body." That's probably pretty good. Teresa says, "Siofra sneezed after talking about sexual addictions." Yeah, I think there's no relation to that. Just my nose. Not everything is related to everything else. But yeah. I'm not allergic to sex. Carla says, "Teresa, haha." Yes, conspiracy theorists could read a lot into that. Carla said, "Siofra, haha." Yeah, the newest conspiracy theory I ran across was that Doppler radar is trying to change our minds and control the weather, which it's not. And someone took out part of a Doppler radar system that was needed in order to predict tornadoes.
I'll tell you what I like, the fact that they're now manufacturing a fabric to make hats out of that has embedded metal fibers, so it's the same as making a tinfoil hat, but now you can make it look like a regular hat and have a tinfoil hat on your head anyway.
Yep, it's EM blocking.
It's EM blocking, yes.
Yep.
EM blocking hat, which actually could be, it doesn't necessarily sound like a bad thing to be, but it just tickled me, the connection with the old idea of wearing a
The
tinfoil hat.
to keep their, telepathic
Yeah.
waves out of your brain. Yes.
But hey, especially if you grounded it, had a whole outfit, your shirt and everything grounded all down to the ground, and you'd have a Faraday cage around you.
I wonder how expensive the fabric would be. And would your phone still work?
Well,
not
if
if
you
it was
had
in
a pocket.
I was going to say, not if it was in your
Yeah.
pocket.
You could run it down to some little tacks or cleats in your shoes that like pierce the earth and really ground you out.
Carla says, "Oh my God, I can't believe the insanity. I'm laughing, but they seriously believe this stuff." And that's about the Doppler radar and maybe the hat too. I don't know. But yes, it's...
Well, a hat makes you think. If you're actually keeping electromagnetism from your brain, which you would be doing, is that helpful? I don't know.
Well, I know when I was
But
younger...
it's not going to hurt anything by keeping it from your brain.
When I was younger, I was very sensitive to the EM fields underneath the wires, the high tension wires and stuff. It would give me a headache. I would actually feel it. I would feel them coming and stuff. So it could be helpful, especially for people who are sensitive to those.
Yeah, so other than its amusement factor, I think it could genuinely be interesting. Interesting to try one.
Yeah.
Not a huge interest, but...
Carla says both. She was laughing about both. Beth says, "We've been expecting rain for 10 days. It thunders, lightning, but no rain. My little garden is taking a hit. I'm sorry." Maria says, Hi, new fan here. Glad to have found your videos. Welcome, Maria, to our live show. Anything you need to ask about magic? We're here to try and answer those questions. Beth says, I can't be around a transformer. Yeah, I mean, it could be the same kind of thing. Some of us are going to be more sensitive to electromagnetic energy fields than others, just like everything else, I imagine. Gabrielle says, I can feel the lunar and solar channels, and they combine in the middle channel. It's a lot of energy, but it moves pretty freely. I can also feel the root chakra going into the ground. A lot of sensation.
Well, that's cool. It's not very many people can feel those specifically.
Yeah.
I can feel the chakras on an energy level. Any one of the chakras, I can't sense them clairvoyantly, but I can feel them and the energy moving in them and stuff at the various locations.
Yeah, mine has been a little quieter this week. So it could be the stress, actually, that's made him a little bit quieter. Gabrielle says, I do experience the no thought experience, then thankfully I get back to myself.
Oh no, that's great. I wish I could experience it more. I mean, I'm working on that currently, increasing my ability to do that.
I used to do that a lot when I was younger.
I used to be able to do it easy when I was younger. As I've gotten older, it's like
That's because we have more thoughts in our head.
I do seem to have more garbage in my head,
Yeah.
rolling around all the time.
Yep.
Like
We
a
have fewer
flood
things
flooding me
happening
out. Yeah.
when we're younger, and so it makes it probably easier because of that. We're not already so plugged up with thoughts. Carla says, I can feel the humidity from the Transformers, Beth. Well, what I imagine as Transformers, we call them steel monsters.
You know what else they're called? In the Tesla coil building community, they call them pole pigs because they got like the two little insulators on the top, like the ears of
I see.
pole pigs. Yeah.
Not humidity, hum. Oh, don't you just love it when things correct you when you don't want them to? Well, I thought humidity was a funny thing to get from a transformer, so thank you. Gabrielle says, yeah, same here. I have so many thoughts that stress me out, so it's motivated to let them go.
Yeah.
It's a good thing to let them go when you can. It's like, but being able to is sometimes not easy. That's why we're doing this, right? To learn. That says, mine are off the charts. I feel the colors, the cones, the vibrations in my body expanding outward. I'm glad I don't live underneath high-powered tension lines. I would have hard time with that. We looked at one house before we bought the house we're in. It was right across the street from a substation, and I thought, yeah, no, that's a no. I don't need that.
Well, I haven't lived like under high power lines or across from a substation, but I haven't had any desire to either. I mean, just I don't care for that just on a general.
Yeah, well, that was one of the reasons that house was not okay. That was when we had that dog, the Doberman, came over, and
Right.
it happened to be, I happened to have an umbrella, and I had never done this before, and I'm okay with dogs in general, but this dog is coming at me, and I'm like, I don't know who this dog is and what they're going to do, and I instinctively opened up the umbrella, and I put the umbrella between me and the dog.
The dog was being extremely aggressive.
And so it was confused, and it kept like coming around, and I kept moving with the umbrella, and then finally it left and went away, and we got out of there after that, so we didn't have to worry about the dog coming back. But there were some definite signs that that was not a good house for us to buy.
Yep.
Maria says, I've been watching the beginner playlist to start. Don't know too much about magic right now. I'm really interested in the Fae, but decided I should wait until after I know more to look for them. Did you used to live in the Bay Area in California? I think in the video you mentioned being in Monterey. Yeah, I lived in Santa Cruz. And Monterey, I was in Monterey a couple of times, and I think Monterey is one of the places where I encountered the ley line that needed to be healed. No, that was the two-headed dragon. The ley line was in Big Sur, so yeah, I lived down in that area. And I went to school in Emeryville, the massage school, and I was going to school actually at the time that we had the earthquake in '89, fortunately, I wasn't going to school that day. It was in between. I went to school Monday and Wednesdays and Saturdays, and the earthquake was on a Tuesday. So, yeah, I was there for a number of years. I guess I moved out, I think, after I graduated in 90. I graduated in March of 90. Teresa says, I lived under power lines and it was the best place I ever lived, energetically speaking, but I could also have been on a power spot, super tuned in there. Beth says, kisses, Carla. Marie says, that's really cool. I'm in San Jose, kind of right by there, just moved here. There's a lot of nature spots. That's got to be real scary. Well, yeah, earthquake was not fun. And yes, there's some pretty cool places around there. There's I went to a workshop that Starhawk gave in the mountains between San Jose and Santa Cruz, right there, the Santa Cruz Mountains. I guess they called it. It was a Girl Scout camp or something or other, I think. Or no, it was not a Girl Scout camp. It was what are they called? Quakers? I think it was Quaker. It was a Quaker campsite that they rented to different groups and things, and we were there. Carla says, Bethy, hearts. So, love fest going on here. But yeah, there's magic everywhere. You're not too far from Gabrielle. She's in Mount Shasta, so she's between us, since we're up in southern Oregon at this point, on the coast. So yeah. But welcome to the channel, and certainly, you know, if you have any questions about that, you can write in, and you can either send me emails through my, Siofra's Magic Alcove email, or you can send comments through the YouTube channel and ask questions, and you're certainly free to come to our live shows and ask questions there about it. And I'm thinking of doing some beginning witchcraft classes. The next one's going to be on natural authority. It's coming up on Wednesday. So, and that's a good one to know about anyway, if you're going to be getting into magic. So if you're interested in that, I don't know what your schedule is like, but it's happening at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, so you might be working. Gabrielle says, I had a lady and a relative tried to convert me to Christianity in the same week. Oh no. I told them both off. It was hilarious because they were so mad they couldn't upset me. The lady forced a hug. I accidentally stepped on her foot. Well, not so accidentally. So it serves her right for trying to get into my mind and personal space. Good for you, standing up for yourself. Carla says, we have a place called Columcille Megalith Park. That's a power spot. People work on the land there and you can feel it. That's pretty fantastic. Maria says, hopefully one day I'll take a trip out to Oregon. My husband's family lives there. Thank you. Those sound like fun. I think I'll join them. Not working right now. I'm a bit chronically ill. All right, well, if you're interested in the class, the particulars, you can send me about the class. I put up the notification on the posts on our channel. So you can check that out. You can send me an email and register, and we would love to have you. That would be great, because that's why I'm doing these classes. So, yay. The more the merrier. Oh, only up to 10 people. We don't go lots of people. It's like it's a limited class. Marie says, I grew up as a Christian, so recently tried to go to a church, and they were trying to force me to scream Jesus and cry. Felt a bit cultish. Yeah, that does sound a bit cultish. And she says, yay. Yep. It's I was in reviewing some of my previous videos and transcribing them and everything. I ran across one where I was talking about a dream that I had about our channel, where I came into the temple, and it was there were starlings everywhere, and they had laid eggs all over the temple, and I totally forgot about it. So I thought it was cool that I mentioned it, and it ended up in a video. And I saw that as a positive sign that we were doing something, and so planting these eggs of creation or what have you, and people were coming that were the right people were finding us, and it just seemed like a real positive dream. So yeah, that was pretty cool. Carla says, it's a weird thing, religiously speaking, Maria. Yeah. Maria says, yeah, it does sound weird. It scared me. Well, it's a way to subvert your will by getting you to participate in that, especially with that particular activity, because it gets the irrational, unconscious mind activated. So then you're a lot more vulnerable to suggestion and whatnot afterwards, or even during. And it shows them that you're willing to let go of conscious control of your own space and your mind and so forth. So yeah, it definitely makes you more vulnerable, I think. Teresa says soon you'll be at 16,000 subscribers. Wow. Kelly says, good morning from New Zealand. Good morning, Kelly. Thank you for being here. We have several people who come in from New Zealand. I think it's awesome. It's Monday there. And yes, we will soon be at 16,000 subscribers. We're very excited about that. It's all been organic, so way cool. Carla says, that's how I took the feathers 2 days in a row. Spirits moving. People are uncomfortable and lashing out, though. Well, yeah, there always are people who are going to be uncomfortable and lashing out. Being, trying to change their state of consciousness, they don't want to. Gabrielle says, and the fake niceness was so contrived, the both ended up trying to get away. I let them know I am not the one. Yeah, I don't understand that whole process. Well, intellectually, I understand it. Energetically, I'm offended by it. And spiritually, I don't understand it because it kind of goes against everything I believe in free will, and all that stuff. The right to choose your own path and being okay with other people being different. I think intellectually, it's like they want everyone to be like them because on some level they're convinced that they're right and they think they're doing you a favor by trying to get you on board because in their minds they're worried that something bad will happen to you because you're not where you're supposed to be according to them and they're trying to save your soul. So yeah, it's really good justification for manipulation. And also annoying and rude and condescending because it says you don't know what you're doing and you don't have any right to make these things, decide for yourself what's the right path for you. And you're obviously choosing things incorrectly according to them. So, yeah. So there. Yeah. Beth says, Gabrielle, they tried so hard to brainwash me as a toddler. I knew it was wrong. Carla says, so condescending. Yes. It just is. And, it's like I have a client who she gets into arguments with herself whenever I tell her that a Christian group has said something, and then she argues that they're not Christian because it doesn't fit her definition of Christianity, which I find amusing because it's not my job to define that. It's theirs, and they call themselves that name, so what am I supposed to do with that, right? But she also one day I was telling her about a radio show that Ian had listened to that was kind of upsetting. It was a right-wing radio program, and the way they were talking about us as witches and magical people and stuff like that, it was like pretty clear if they thought they could get away with it, they would be burning us at the stake. And I told her that story. So she said, well, that's not the Christian thing to do. What you do is you invite them over for dinner and you sit them down and you very calmly talk about the subject and you explain to them how they're wrong and what the right way is. And I thought, that is so insulting. It's like incredibly insulting, and you have no clue.
No idea, yep.
How insulting that is.
Yep, I've talked to enough of them to know myself.
Like, boy, clueless. Talk about clueless. So, Gabrielle says, and so was my relative. No true Scotsman fallacy. It's a way to get out of accountability. Well, that's true, because then, I love how when everything bad happens, the devil made them do it. Anything good happens, God did it for them. And so they have no accountability for anything, good or bad. Well, that's a generalization, I know, but at the moment I'm in that state, so there. It says, do different gods and goddesses care if we worship more than just one of them? The followers of many seem to think their deity is jealous. Well, if they're worshiping a deity that's jealous, that's probably a sign that they're with a deity that's jealous, and that may not be a good deity. That's one of the reasons why I don't deal with the Christian God, because he is like one heck of a jealous guy. And the ones that I deal with, they aren't jealous of each other, so yeah, I guess it can be. It just depends.
Yep, some of them, the Santeria have some that can't abide each other and things like that. They have some of their own deities that fight and things like that. And,
Yeah, they're setting
yeah,
up the scenario for that to happen. It's
yeah.
like, mythology and stories and things like that, and the deities, they all feed into each other when it comes to that. So, if they can't get along, I don't work with them. I have a rule. And I have deities from a lot of different cultures in here: Egypt and Greece and Norse and Hindu and, you know, Native American in some cases, whatever. Maria says, so hard to be deprogrammed when living in a religion, but I noticed all the Christians I've met were a bit evil. Ew, I'm sorry. I don't think they have to be, but yeah, okay. Icky. Carla says, I go all biblical on them and tell them their false gospel will not stand, and I rebuke them in the name of Jesus Christ. Oh, I'm sure they love that. Gabrielle says, the fact that this lady described her experience with Jesus as profound and life-changing, but dismissed my spirituality as New Age or emotionalism, I pointed out how she was being hypocritical. Good for you. At this point in time, I don't have conversations with them at all anymore because I find it pointless.
It's
A waste of my energy and time, and I have better things to do with what years I have left. And I'm like, I'm 75. I've made up my mind. I've decided who I am, what my path is, and what I'm about to do with the rest of it. And so what they think and what they want to tell me is like, not interested, don't care, go away, leave me alone. Like, that's the way it works. Beth says, I didn't need reprogramming. They failed you, can't brainwash me. Well, good. We don't want you to be brainwashed. Gabrielle says, I would not let her get out of what she stepped into with me. Then suddenly she had to go, not before giving me 100-yard wide eye stare and telling me Jesus loves me. What is this? Love love the person but not the sin, or some such stupidity that they've come up with that is another condescending kind of statement. It's like, I love you even though you're a sinner and a horrible person, but here's some love anyway. I'm so much better than you are because I love you and you don't. Yeah, whatever. Gabrielle says, I was just trying to hang out at the hot tub and this clown started with me. I finished it though. Well, I think that's great because they need to be confronted. It's just, I don't care anymore. So I'm glad you're doing it for me. Thank you very much, Gabrielle. Beth says, do your research on culture and deities when putting a new altar. Certain deities don't like being next to each other. Yeah, that would be response to Shay's question. Carla says, they do not, but I do. I grew up in the church and I know their book better than they do. They're silly and kind of dangerous. Yes, totally. Ariel says, it was a good experience because I stood up for myself and my inner child felt safe. Awesome. Congratulations. I applaud you. That's great. Standing up for yourself. And if they were uncomfortable, that's their problem. So sad for them. Definitely do not need that. It's like, boy, people. That's the thing, though. It's like, that's why a lot of times I say I judge people not by their beliefs, but by their actions. Because even in the same religion, everyone's got different beliefs. Like, and so if your belief in something doesn't make you act like a better person, it's a bad belief, in my opinion. It doesn't matter. You can say words with your mouth all the time you want, like, I love you, I think you're wonderful, I accept you for who you are. And then on the other hand, I'm undermining you and telling you that you're wrong and you need to do it my way. Yeah, these two things don't actually mesh. So, hypocrisy, I guess. Marie says, I'm glad for the sisters I have, which are 4 older ones, which all migrated towards the witchy way. Oh, good. Awesome. Good to know. They have some modeling on how to get out. That's good. Carla says, I 100% agree. I remember when I was younger and I would go to church and I could see all the angels and stuff there. And even as a teenager, one time we were in a Catholic church. I think it was like the National Cathedral in Washington, D.C. or something. And, I'm not Catholic. or wasn't ever Catholic, not in this life anyway. And I was in there and I was looking at all these bright, pretty, sparkling spirits that were there. And, I liked looking at them, which is why I went to church, because I liked looking at the pretty spirits. And then I looked at the people, and they were all so depressed and down and miserable. And I could not understand why, because how could they be with all this wonderful stuff going on right above their heads, but they couldn't see it or feel it, I guess. It was sort of interesting psychic vision into a reality, I guess, of, angels are real and they're light beings and they don't mean us harm in general, and they're not just for Christianity. They sort of, I think, are just what they are, and we've identified and named and defined them as certain things depending on our culture. But it was interesting to see that as a kid. So, Carla says, what you said, Siofra. Gabrielle says, I chat GPT some more good comebacks if another one tries it with me. Chat GPT is actually kind of interesting. I've been using it lately to help me with writing new descriptions and stuff like that, because I don't think in an SEO way. So trying to help people define me just by using different language. So yeah. Maria says, super beautiful. Hopefully one day I can see them all. I saw as a kid were old lady ghost. All you saw as a kid was an old lady ghost. Well, that's something. I mean, I saw those too. And, I'm a paranormal investigator and help cross spirits over, so seeing ghosts is a good thing in my mind. Gabrielle says, like this lady kept saying, Jesus is Lord. Okay. I like the throwing up emoji. Gabrielle says, ChatGPT said a good response would be to say, if Jesus is truly Lord in your heart, what would he say about using his name to dominate others? Not bad, chat. I kind of like that. Good response. Confront them with their hypocrisy. But yeah. I mean, getting deprogrammed to be a witch is a whole thing in and of itself, part of the shadow work. Everybody says, oh, you're saying Jesus is Lord, but are you using that to bring light or to silence me? I think we know the answer to that question, Gabrielle. It's not to bring light. Oh, the things that people do to each other. It's such a waste of time. Like, don't they have anything better to do? Like, go feed the hungry, maybe? Go work at a homeless shelter or an unhoused shelter or whatever. Like, Gabrielle says, yep. Tell them to go and put actions to their words instead of just using words. Maria says, how did you meet your husband? Mine just rolls his eyes when I try to tell him the new exciting information I learned from you. Well, he's a magical person too, and we did a whole video on how we met.
But we met at a pagan potluck.
A dessert
potluck. So there you go.
It helps to meet in the right place. Yep. But yes, we did. Everyone kept asking how we met, and so we actually have a video on how Ian and I met. So you might do a search in the I guess in the directory, the video directory or whatever on that and find it. So yeah, I know it's in there somewhere. So Gabrielle says, I'm prepared. We'll eat them for breakfast in an argument. Maria says, sounds like true soulmates. I'll have to look up the video. And yes, we are very compatible. We have some differences, but we have more similarities than we have differences. And our differences are minor and our similarities are on the big stuff.
Yep.
And that's important if you're going to have a healthy relationship with someone.
And there's really a lot more similarities than
a lot more. I mean, really minor stuff that's where we have different viewpoints or different experiences or something like that, but it's not really differences in the, that sense. So yes, and we've been together now for 34 years, been married for 33. something I never even envisioned for myself. I was definitely not looking for a relationship, and neither was he. So yeah, it's a good partnership, a true partnership. We're equals. There's none of this weird mind gaming between,
Yeah,
partners where one's got to be above the other or dominate the other somehow, or there's a back and forth kind of thing like that, giving up your power to make someone happy and vice versa.
which is really how most of the relationships out there are in general. Has to
Unfortunately.
be like in charge, you know,
Yeah, which is unfortunate.
instead of power together, power over or under.
So Carlos says, did I ever send you the email Elron's great grandson sent me, Siofra? We're on to something else now, so I forget my point. I can't remember if you sent it to me or not. Send it to me again, just in case.
Well, I could remember, wouldn't you?
I
Something
think I
from
would
L.
have
Ron
mentioned
Hubbard's
that.
great grandson.
I think I would have remembered seeing it if I'd seen it. Maria says, super beautiful. That's when you find the best relationship, when you're not looking for one. Yeah, and that's why working on yourself is so important, because if you don't know who you are and what's okay with you, then you don't know whether someone's a good match. And, you're looking to be fixed or fix them or projecting or whatever. So Carla says, I will. Thank you, Carla. Gabrielle says, yep, that's why I'm single, because it's hard to find someone who's not manipulative. That is true. Shay says, the link to the video Schieffer mentioned. Thank you. There's a link there somewhere. Did it let the link go through? You might have it set not to accept external links, but
I don't know. All I see parentheses the link.
yeah, that could be that we have the channel set up not to accept external links because we had some people putting weird links in there. So
Yeah,
sorry, you can put it on under post on the community, and then she can find it there. How's that?
Yeah, we had a time when we got hit by somebody who just kept posting porn links over and over again.
Yeah,
Pretty obnoxious.
yeah. So that could be. We see the words, but not the link. So I'm sure Shay can take care of that. She's now got the video, so she says, sounds good. Thank you, Shay. We appreciate your effort. And I'm sorry it won't let you do it. Because that would be okay with us. But yeah. What do we want to talk about now? Sort of the subject is, becoming yourself and being allowed to be yourself, which is rather important. So, what kind of questions do we have? Carla says, birthing pains. Yeah, well, we're really happy that they stopped. That was like every week for when we first started our live shows, I think, that we had those idiots coming in, the bot that kept finding us.
I don't think it was a bot. It was a person doing it.
Okay, well, whatever it was annoying. Carla says, can you tell the birth has begun? Well, I think everyone's in different stages of development, so some people are being born and some people apparently are resisting. I hope. Get this up off the floor. Come here, wand. I'm so glad I made all these wands. Really useful to have around. Teresa says, I'm looking forward to sitting by the water and meditating now. How do I make the most of retaining the magnetism? A question we apparently don't have an answer for. Magnetism is in and out, it flows, kind of like the water.
Well,
You get more acquainted with it, and then it's easier to connect to when you need it.
yeah. Well, when you pull it in, you can program it with something if you want. It'll come in with the akasha of the magnetism if you program it with if you want to be magnetic to people, or if you want to pull in, what you want to draw into your life. So it would be a specific thing. You can pull that in with the magnetism, have it work on that.
Practice.
Yeah.
He says, have I stumped you?
No, not really. It's just that, the question is, in a way, it's kind of too broad.
He says, I want to strengthen my aura with it.
Well, it'll do that just by being there. But you could take that onto the three planes because you have the aura, your mental aura, your astral aura,
Your physical
and
aura.
the physical aura, which is what will make you attractive to other people and things like that, will be the physical magnetism. But that can also affect your body physically, like not getting varicose veins, things like that. The magnetism might do. It's also connected to your blood, of course, your iron in your blood. Um, Emotionally, magnetism can make you more sensitive to the feelings of others as long as it doesn't pull you too hard and make you indrawn. You can get too focused on yourself, but it'll also increase your sensitivity to psychic impressions and things like that on that level.
You want to turn off the heat?
Oh, I don't know what that means.
Sorry, I'm making weird symbols. I'm going. All right. Maria says, I'm still healing from childhood trauma, which is not so good for my confidence. I'm really shy and to myself. I've never tried meditation yet, which I will soon. I have chronic pain, so I always dismissed it, thinking it wouldn't work because I'm so distracted by illnesses. Did you leave me a message on the channel and ask about meditation? Are you the one I said to try just for 5 minutes at a time or something like that? Do short bursts in order to start the process to get into it? Whoever it was talking about chronic pain. And that would be what I would recommend. Yes, I did. Okay.
And
Yeah.
I can add a thing to that. You can do it. Trick is to reach a state where you can focus without being distracted by your body, and the way to do that is to start with what Eckhart Tolle and I now recommend, which is observing it, where you look at it, you acknowledge it, but you stay detached by kind of observing it from afar. So once you've mastered that a little bit, then you can begin to focus on what you want, even though your body is hurting and things. Now, it takes practice and a lot of work, especially with pain, to keep that out, but it can be done. But it definitely takes a bit of work. But you can overcome physical things to the point where if you get enough at it, like some of these Indian yogis took it way too far, so they don't notice when their bodies are being chewed on by insects and things like that, or something comes up and takes a bite out of them, they won't notice because they're so spaced out. You want to avoid getting that far into it, but
yeah, no kidding.
yes, the possibility is there. It just makes it much more difficult to start out because you've got all that stuff to overcome.
Gabrielle says, I have a question. When people accept the non-duality of experience and the equanimity of experience, why do they take it to the extreme of not resisting the elements like some yogis do?
Well, that's a good question, and to me it makes a little sense, but there's a belief in there, I guess, that they're making themselves more spiritual that way. I certainly don't. I don't understand that particular behavior to that extreme. I understand how it's possible. As for why, I don't get it. I think people should. I'll tell you a short story from one of Swami Muktananda's books. And somebody was asking him one day about this Swami that was supposedly such a renunciate. He renounced everything. So people started following around and they have to feed him because he renounced even feeding himself. And people have to follow him around and feed him to even keep him alive. Otherwise, he's just let his body evaporate into the elements and die. And Swami Muktanandas, when he was being questioned why someone was confronting him why he isn't that kind of a renunciant, he said, "I'm an even better renunciant. I renounce the 6 people it takes to follow me around everywhere, and I feed myself." And it's that kind of thing where I think it's yeah, I don't know. I can't really speak. I've never met one of those, so I can't really speak to their motives and things. But I certainly don't think it's necessary, and I certainly don't think um, becoming enlightened or that will necessarily make you want to be that way.
Right.
And not all of them did, by the way. There were some that were remarkably fit, apparently, that wander around like muscle builder types and things that have reached that enlightenment. So I don't know.
Yeah, it's not a requirement.
I think they just got so renounced to start with. They renounced everything to start with at a young age. It was just became their nature. That's the only kind of answer I can give to that question without having met one and talked to them.
So Carla says, uh, you guys know I do Lenormand. And 2 weeks ago, this upcoming Friday, it said about all kinds of good news, progress, etc. Then the news cycle seems like the gates have opened with more to come. Yeah, well, there's always that. Gabrielle says, if I'm ultimately awareness temporarily manifested in this form, how do I also embrace being a witch? Is that just another construct? Kind takes the piss out of me because things seem meaningless at times.
Well, well,
Okay, so let me answer that. Being a witch is about being aware of the fact that you are temporarily manifested in this form and you are learning how to work within it and to not just shape it in some cases, but to be able to follow it and move with it. Because if you haven't recognized that that's the manifestation that we're all in, then you can't do anything with it. So I don't think being a witch means that, I don't think that there's a conflict between those two ideas.
the problem we're looking at here is a problem of semantics.
Right.
Being a witch is simply a description that people have come up with for a set of practices they want to adhere to. Now, becoming that other, ultimate awareness in that doesn't mean you'll necessarily stop doing those things that you like. But what will happen is any of them that aren't truly your nature will drop away. But you also don't need to ascribe a name to them. You can do the same practices. You just won't think of yourself as a witch. You'll think of yourself in a more general terms as a being. But you can certainly do the same practices. The only thing is, if you have any practices that are based on, a lot of people do things without realizing that they're doing them because of what they think other people will think of their actions. And they believe that thoroughly enough that they think they're actually doing those things for different reasons. They won't realize they're doing them for other people's approval. All those type of things will drop away because you will no longer need them. But practices, like, I'm sure if I ever reach that state permanently, I'm still going to love listening to music, and probably the same style music, because years ago I let go of the fact of how people thought about my music, and I just listened to what just I like and that. So I'm sure I'll retain that, and I'll still enjoy it just as much. You just don't get attached to the falsehoods of things anymore for false reasons and things like that. So you could still be a witch, absolutely, if you wanted to. You wouldn't necessarily call yourself anything. Just be a being, human.
And I'm sure that there are some people that, for them, the idea of a witch is a construct, like Ian is talking about. It's like it's something that they're doing for approval, or they think they're spooky, or they're going to get power, or whatever. And of course, that's not my definition.
Yeah. Well, Yeah, I agree. You know, there are a lot of legitimate ones out there, but yeah.
Yeah. I mean, for some people, it's become this lifestyle kind of a thing. And some people are making big bucks selling stuff for it. There's no doubt
Of
about it.
course, I was referring on a more subtle level though, because
Yeah.
people actually, I'm speaking from my own experience. I used to think the music thing is a good one because I got rid of that some time back. And when I finally realized I was listening to some types of music because my friends at school thought it was cool and things like that. And when I couldn't run anything by them or talk about it or anything, stop talking about it is a good way to find out. If you can't talk about it, if you lose interest in it and all that with not talking about it, then you're doing it. So these motivations, you know, the music made me feel good and stuff, but it was all internally because I was cool. I was listening to what the cool people listen to, that kind of thing. And when that all dropped away from me, then my style and music changed a bit. Not totally. I still listen to a lot of the old stuff I used to.
But for a different reason.
But yeah, for reasons that I truly like it. All the stuff that was just everybody liked that wasn't really my thing just dropped away.
Okay, so Gabrielle says, that's great. Yeah, I wouldn't want anyone feeding me. Sounds like they didn't integrate their experience. Coven says, those hats are expensive. Are you talking about those hats that block EM fields? I don't know. How much are they? They could be
Probably
expensive.
are, yeah.
Gabrielle says, yeah, it's collaboration. I'm just realizing how infinite we are, and it's also feel very small. But I still want to do witchcraft because it's fun and creative. It's part of my identity. And there's nothing wrong with that. Maria says, I just like to learn about this world and universe, everything, so is so boring. So this just keeps me sane, learning new things. Yeah,
Oh,
I don't
I
understand
have to
how
learn
anyone
new
could be
things.
bored because
Well,
it's not
you know,
boring at all. But yes,
I
absolutely.
can't live. That's part of me is learning new things. That's really what I do. That's a major part of me. If I couldn't learn stuff, it would just be like, uh,
Well, also learning new things keeps your brain
yeah.
functioning and stuff like that in the body that you happen to be in. So yay for that. So Maria says, I just like to learn. Oh, Gabrielle says, but realizing I'm bigger than the construct is daunting. Don't worry about it.
Well,
Try not to worry about it.
yeah, it shouldn't be daunting. It just means you can take an overview. I mean, you know, that's part of the problem with this world we're in. Everybody thinks they got to fight against everything. Everything is a fight. Everything is a battle. You know, there's a evil person in charge. Let's battle against that to save everybody. There's, you know, and the people up there are like, oh, I'm a great person. I'm in charge of everything, but they're all battling against me and battling back, and everybody battles. And it's that old saying, like an eye for an eye leaves the whole world blind. Until people realize they have to get over the battling about everything and look at it from an objective point of view. And the only way you can do that is get a larger perspective and see it kind of from outside. And then you can start looking at it and say, these things are ridiculous, so stop doing them. And I think that's the only way to solve a lot of these problems. You know, if we could go and make Trump enlightened, but yeah, sorry, I forget I used, I was not going to bring up the name on purpose, but you know, that idea, you know, the only way is if he could step out and take an overview of things and see. So,
But
yeah, sorry,
anyway,
that's my own little
yes,
for the week. Yeah.
for the week, yeah. But yeah, I mean, having an overview helps. Gabrielle says, I'm secretive about the witchcraft, but I feel like witchcraft is how mystics play, realizing that I don't exist independently and it's about cooperation with the universe, not just my personal empowerment. Well, that's true.
Yeah.
That's one of the things is like you're part of everything, all life, all existence, and so forth. And to me, that's part of what being a witch is about, is that connecting with all of that stuff and
Yeah.
and being integrated into it and with it and so forth instead of trying to be above, separate from, or control. And although some people think that being a witch gives you power and control, it's not the same kind of power and control that other people imagine that we're doing. So,
And really, if you're applying it right, use it for control over yourself, and then that will result in some control over your environment. But you can't do that so much if you don't have control over yourself and your own inner self.
Norse code says, I'm learning how to crochet, and it's like learning a new language. It's challenging, and I've really needed to learn a new skill. I was getting bored and spending too much time on YouTube. And then adds, now I crochet while listening to YouTube lives like Siofra. Well, good for you, though. Yes, that Gabrielle. Gabrielle says, yes, it's incredible. And, you know, it's, I know how to crochet, and good for you. I'm making my last shawl on the commitment I made to make all the women in my family a shawl. So I have one shawl left, and I started it today. Maria says, that's cool. I also craft while I watch the videos. Gabrielle says, it feels really nice to be part of a bigger picture, and just exploring reality is fun. I think so. I mean, when I was a kid, the things that I did as a kid that I found entertaining are like so simple but profound, like laying on the grass and looking at the sky, or sitting in a tree, climbing a tree, being with a tree, walking through the woods, all that stuff. Always looking outside of myself. Norse Code says, I'm making little amigurumi dolls. Ooh, cool. Carla says, I made a feather bottle while watching her videos. Ha! Oh, cool, a feather bottle. All right. Why not? I was watching a video on birds last night on the Bird of Paradises, and some of those birds are so spectacular to look at. Oh my goodness. They have bragging rights. There's no doubt about it. They're pretty cool. And the cat was very interested in some of the sounds they were making for the first half of the video. Then he got bored and went to sleep because they weren't jumping out of the screen at him. Maria says, it really is fun. My current crafts is charm bottles with miniature paper stars, crystals, and lavender. Ooh, nice. Yeah, I like doing crafts. I've been a very crafty person my entire life, and when you start making your own wands, a whole different level of crafting and magic put together. Just way cool. Yeah, it's one of those things. Norse Code says, I have a grandbaby now, and it's fantastic to see through the eyes of a baby again. He's astounded at everything, things I've taken for granted. Terrific. Yes, that's awesome. Catch Manny says, it's our nature of being to just be, just of life force, don't need to actually eat. Now, I don't know, I think I need to actually eat. I'm definitely not an airy, what's the word? I don't exist just on the chi coming out of the air.
Oh, the breatharian.
Breatharian, that's it. I'm not a breatharian. They had supposedly had a breatharian in Santa Cruz for a while until someone caught him eating at McDonald's and outed him. And Carla says, some of them are just gorgeous. I saw where they're wanting to bring maybe a condor back. I thought they weren't extinct, but, well, I don't think that they're extinct anymore, but they're still limited number of condors. Maybe there's different types, I don't know. Marie says, me too, I'm still very young, barely 20, but hopefully I'll be as crafty and wise as you. Oh, good. I'd love to be a mentor or a sort of model for the future. The kind of old person I would like to be is the kind of old person I'm trying to become. Gabrielle says, I play this game on Nintendo Switch called Fey World. It's a fairy version of Animal Crossing. Norse Code says, I love watching craft channels who make charm bottle crafts at Maria. Gabrielle says, laugh out loud eating at McDonald's. I know. I just thought that was so perfect. He was all enlightened, and he didn't need to exist on food anymore. He didn't require physical sustenance. It's like, so, he's like the highest form of enlightened person that there is. There might have been 3 or 4 in the whole history of the world that have been able to achieve that. I think it's pretty rare. And then they caught him eating a hamburger. Norse Code says, I'm excited to find my wand and decorate it with crystals. It's my house. It's in my house somewhere. It'll come. It'll come. It can't be too far. In my house somewhere. Maria says, maybe I'll make some videos one day. Don't know what they could do, just felt magical paper stars represent wishes in Japanese culture at Norse. Gabrielle says, that's so crazy. Kara says, Siofra and Ian do divine work. Yeah, well, we try. We do our work anyway, whether it's divine or not, I guess depends on your point of view. North Code, I asked St. Anthony to find my wand. Okay, he's the saint of lost objects, I'm assuming, since I'm not Catholic and I don't remember all the saints and what they do. I asked the fairies. I mean, at least lately things haven't disappeared. We still have one thing that's missing. The, what you call it? Sunscreen is still missing. But everything else came back. Roscoe said, I have some paper stars. A friend makes them and I love them, Maria. Yes. Carla says, hearts. Yeah, I mean, really the whole reason for being here, in my opinion, is to learn how to enjoy oneself as much as possible and interact with living things. I saw, apparently, someone has come up with a new phrase called toxic empathy.
Toxic empathy.
Yes, toxic empathy. And someone responded, anyone who comes up with the phrase toxic empathy is likely to be a sociopath, because only a sociopath would think that there could be anything toxic about empathy. And I kind of agreed with them the way it was meant. Teresa says, maybe the sunscreen is at the lakes. No, we didn't use it there. Maria says, ooh, I can make a wand. I used to as a kid for fun. I just went to a library sale and found an Irish folklore book, which is a good deal for me wanting to learn about the Fae. Be careful what you read about in the Fae and Irish folklore books, because they were written by people who were afraid of them, mostly. So, just a word of caution. But you never know, you could learn something cool. Gabrielle says, I'm so disorganized, I wouldn't notice if something disappeared. But they fairies play pranks with my lights. Okay. Well, they want to get your attention. I guess they have to do something that you'll notice, right? Isn't that how that works? If you're not going to notice it, it won't be fun for them. Maria says, yes, me too. I'm so clumsy and my mess is organized in my own messy way, if you know what I mean. I'm like that. Apparently I nest when I'm doing projects. They pile up next to me. I pull them out and start working on them. And when I'm feeling in the mood to do so. Oh well. Gabrielle says, so many people just want to fight. It's a challenge to find peaceful people.
Yeah, that's very true.
It's very true. That's because ego, false ego. Because they have to prove themselves right about something in order to feel somehow, I don't know, justified in existing, maybe? I'm not sure what the rational thing is. It's like, or if they're not right, they have to question everything they've ever done, perhaps. And so they're afraid of self-reflection. Me, it's like if I'm wrong about something, I'd like to know. and then I can change what I'm doing based on new information.
Yes, well, most people don't want to know. That's the problem.
I guess. Yep. Teresa says, I'm bad for starting piles. Yep, piles are definitely a thing. But hey, it keeps me exercising. I have to walk around piles, so I learn not to fall over.
I suppose that's
it's some strange form of exercise that I've created for myself. Gabrielle says, the fairies unhooked the metal tube out of the toilet and I got sprayed in the face. I was so mad, but they were laughing. Oh, at least it was clean water. I hope. It was before.
That little tube, yeah.
Yeah, it would be clean water.
Little tube fill thing.
Maria says, I have a mess everywhere, but I know where everything is. Good. Good to know where your stuff is. I have this thing, it's like sometimes I'm afraid if I don't think of something often enough, it'll disappear. It's like, I think that's from reading the Seth books. It's like manifesting things by, you create them with your thoughts and stuff like that. And if you don't think about them for a period of time, then they sort of vanish and go away and they're not there anymore. So I have to every so often think about things so that I remember that they're here. Teresa says, try balancing on the piles and leap from one to the other. No, that's not good for me, even though I am a goat. Gabrielle says, it was clean. Yes, it was clean water. North Code said, same at Teresa. After my mom passed, I've been cleaning out house and making piles to keep, piles to sell, piles to throw away, piles to give away. I agree. It's Siofra Magic Alcove. Thank you. Always nice to be agreed with. Ah, I don't mind. So yeah, life is an interesting experience. That's all there is to it. Ugh. Is our New Zealander still there? Just sort of faded off into the background and just said hi. Wonder how the weather is down there, since the weather around the country here is pretty crazy. Roscoe says, I agree, you have to remember things, people, memories, to keep them alive in your life. Yep. Teresa says, I wonder if a pendulum could help to discern what one should throw out, keep, and give away. I don't know. It depends on if you can use a pendulum or not. And if you trust their input. Again, that's kind of like giving over your right to decide things for yourself to some other force. So I'm not sure if it's a good idea or not. But if it's your own unconscious and it helps you, then go ahead. Carlos says, what's everyone doing for the rest of the day, evening? I don't know what we're doing. Going to find out how the family member is doing, because my daughter by then should have been able to visit with him and give me an update on his health and how he survived or is doing after his open heart surgery. He's going to have a bit of a long recovery, so I guess I'll find that out. Maybe watch a TV show or something and work on that shawl. Maria says, oh yeah, storms everywhere in the U.S. Hope everyone stays safe. No kidding. Norse God said, quote says, good idea, Teresa. Carla says, we're heading out for our evening drive in the Hollows. Then I'm off to Mom's. Ellie says, New Zealander's still here. Beautiful winter morning here. Getting ready for the day. Running errands today. Okay, good. Just thought I'd check in. Because, North Code says, sometimes you just got to do it. And if a pendulum does it for you, then do it. But what do I know? That's what I say. If it works for you, fine. Teresa says, Carla, my goats have found another way to get out of their yard. I might patch that up to his this evening if I have the energy. Goats are very creative that way. Gabrielle says, yeah, I went through a phase where I thought I was special, then I realized everyone is special and we are all God and no one is God or exist independently by themselves. It's weird to feel special and not. It's a good way. Actually, that's a good attitude.
Yeah.
Carla says, Mom and I are going to watch a comedy, good for grief. After the how, of course, show, after the show. You have some of the best typos. Maria says, later I will go visit my twin at her house and hang out with another sister. One of your witchy sisters, I'm assuming. Gabrielle says, I can't escape being conscious. Might as well enjoy myself. Might as well. Norse Code says, I'll be finishing some paperwork, then crocheting. Ellie says, I love your purple outfit. Thank you. I was feeling the need for purple like I often do. And, it's like, this is a little sundress, but it's not warm enough to just have that, so I had to put something under it. So thank you. Norse Code says, nice at Gabrielle. Carla says, Teresa, I get the biggest kick out of your goats. Norse Code says, purple is my favorite color. Well, it's the best color in the universe, isn't it? I mean, what's not to like? It's both warm and cool simultaneously. So it's both inviting and relaxing simultaneously, since it's red and blue. It's like the acacia, so it's like contains everything. All time and all space is purple. Marie says, yes, my twin is one of the witchy sisters. The charm bottles I'm making are for her baby shower. Awesome. And purple, the color of royalty. And Gabrielle says, Norse Code, hearts. And Norse Code says, that's so sweet at Maria. Carla says, I'd love to have a purple door. Yeah, I was thinking about that too. Or a purple door knob. They're saying you can have, I think it's a different color for the door, and then the knob is supposed to be purple. It means it's a witch's house, but purple door works too. Frisco says, yes, at Siofra's Magic Alcove.
Well, it might be harder to find a purple doorknob unless you paint it yourself.
Well, no, I actually found some, but they're kind of expensive. And they're indoor doorknobs. They're not like outdoor doorknobs. They're like glass, crystal kind of thing.
Right.
And they're really pretty.
If they fade out in the sun, then that would be
well,
pointless.
and that would be a problem. I don't think they have locks in them, so that would be another problem. You'd have to have some other doorknob and just put that one on for decoration. Uh, Gabrielle says, I heard they were making a Practical Magic sequel. Well, that'd be interesting. Carla says, I'd be happy with a knob. Yep, doorknob. So, um, I was thinking about something there. It went away. Never mind. It might come back, it might not. We've only got 5 minutes, so it might not come back.
We should eventually probably do something with their door. It could use good
Needs to be sanded and
refinishing.
painted and stuff.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, we're getting pretty far on the outside of this building, so that's going well. We have to move the garden shed and take all the stuff out first before we can move it.
And
Finish that part of the wall.
caulking up the window.
Yes. We discovered that our window is being held in place by caulk, most of which has dissolved and gotten bad and started to fall off. So it's a good thing we noticed it when we did. Maria says, used to be my favorite color too. I guess we all go through this phase. I had to learn about my favorite color at North. North Code says, I have to replace the shutters on my house and I'm going to make them purple. And a purple doorknob is amazing. Like an amethyst? Yeah, it looked like that kind of color. I'd probably just spray paint my doorknob. You'd have to make sure it would, like, you know, if it's metal, if it would stick. I'm not sure what the possibilities would do. Carlos says, they do have amethyst doorknobs. Expensive, though. Yes, I saw the Practical Magic news. Most of the original cast are set to come back. Cool.
Sarandon in that, in addition to
Sandra Bullock.
Sandra Bullock, yeah.
Yeah. And was Susan Sarandon in that one? No, I don't think that was her. No, it was Sandra Bullock and yeah, I can see her face.
That's all right.
Whatever.
Not important.
Anyway, Carl says, hope it's better than the sequel to The Craft. Norse Code says, good point. Nicole Kidman, that was it. Thank you. I had her face, but I couldn't think of her name. Laura says, I also love green, orange, yellow, but purple will always be number one. Well, I love green, orange, and yellow, the right shade of orange and the right shade of yellow. Most greens. It's like purple, any shade of purple I like. I haven't found a purple I don't like. I found other colors in the other spectrums. I found versions of them that I didn't like olive, drab, green I don't like, you know. And I do have some, I like gold, muted cold yellow better than bright yellow for wearing, at least, as far as that goes. But yes, I love color. I like all kinds of color and blues and so forth. It just depends on the mood I'm in, as far as that goes. But yes, the only thing that was problem with the Practical Magic was when everybody has a little witch in them and they all managed to do it with the brooms on the floor. I thought was kind of unrealistic as far as actual magic goes, but hey, it was fun. And they had consequences for doing a bad thing, which I liked. I thought that was good, that there were good consequences. Maria says, neon green used to be my favorite color. It was green all over, but I'm going through a girly pink phase right now, though I love to put pink and green together. Beth says, I'm going to sign off, guys. Blessed be to one and all. Bye, Beth.
Bye.
And we're going to be signing off soon, too, since it's coming up on an hour and a half. Ariel says, laugh out loud. Teresa says, I love teal, periwinkle blue, greens of all kinds, orange. Carla says, pink and black girl here. Shay says, bye, Beth. Yeah, it all depends on the situation I'm in as to what color I like. I like all kinds of colors. Carla says, bye, Bethy. I say bye, Beth, too.
We're doing a color on our temple. It's called something like sea mist.
Sea mist, yeah.
Sea mist,
it's sort
yeah.
of an aqua type.
Kind of a light blue-green, yeah.
Yeah, light aqua kind of color. It looks kind of nice. We like it. So yeah, I guess it's time for us all to go. So, if you're interested in the class, send me an email. Check out under our posts on our channel, and Shay will have put up the video that Maria is looking for to how Ian and I got together. Maria says,
Wow.
I think I'll head out too. It was nice meeting everyone. Have a great day. Carla says, that's pretty. Love you guys. Maria says, yay, can't wait. Gabrielle says, I'm going to make my room look like a fairy room.
Sorry about the accidental cap locks.
That's pretty cute. Blessed be all, and thanks for your presence. Okay.
Also small bees. That's what
Yes.
you're getting for yep. Caps lock.
Gabrielle says, vines and plants. I'll send you the email, Siofra, Carlos says. All right. Teresa says, hope your evening is super pleasant and energizing for you both. Or says, my bedroom is all aqua. Goes mine. Carla says, blessed be everyone, much love. Shay says, bye all. Gabriel says, Ian's yelling.
Not intentionally, though.
No, it's just accidental. My cap locks got stuck. All right. Okay, guys, we'll talk to you all later.
Well,
Have yourselves a great rest of your day, and some of you I'll see on Wednesday, and the rest of you we'll see next week. Blessed be everybody.